Hello everyone, and Sabbath blessings, and a great Sabbath and a blessed and wonderful Sabbath evening to all. So we thank God for giving us another chance to study together, to partake of the bread of life, to learn from this word, to learn from the book of all books, the most important book in our life. This book contains the lessons that we need, the rebuke that we need, the understanding that we need for these last days. So tonight we're going to continue with what we talked about last time regarding having little but it becomes much when God is in it. We talked about the story that we find in John chapter 6, starting with verse 5 down to 13, where you have 14 and you have 15 too. And then the story continues even down to 26, 27. And that's a very, very nice story with a long sermon for us in these last days. So, let us going to point out more things that are very good lessons for us in these last days. When we have little, but when we walk with God, when we walk with Jesus, what little we have will increase. So we saw that in the story that the first thing there that is pointed out is the test of faith. We see how God allows our faith to be tested so that we will learn to use our brain power, our mental power, and see what we should do in a particular situation. Just like here, when we find this in verse 5, when it says, "When Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, he saith unto Philip, When shall we buy bread that these may eat?" So God allows the faith of his disciples to be tested, just like us today. Not because God doesn't know what we will do, but he already knows what we will do, but he just wanted us to exercise. He wanted us to use our brain, our minds, the power, this power that he gave to us. When he created man, he put a built-in power to reason, to think. And in verse 6 you see here, and this is said to prove him. To prove him. God puts us in situations, certain situations that are not looking good in order to prove us. I think, well, the good things too, like, there are also good situations that are positive that can also be a test. Like in prosperity, it can also be a test. And in adversity, it will also become a test. So basically, what we can see here is wherever God puts you, there will always be a test on what you will do. What will you do? What will you say? What will you think? So it's how detailed it is. Like even walking down the road, or just washing your dishes, or doing the laundry, there will always be something there. Or either for good or for bad. And in this situation, we can see that God tested the faith of his disciples for them to use their human understanding, and for them to see that little is much. Jesus did not need much in order to provide much. That's a very, very important point there. In this story, we find that he just did not want you to sit back and say, okay, I'll take care of this. Let me solve the situation. No, he wanted to get involved. He wanted you to be involved. He wanted us to be involved. That's how relationship is. Like you're talking to your child, or the parents with the spouses, husband and wife, or your brethren. You need to be involved in that situation that you are in. You have to put in your efforts too, and not just say, okay, I'm gonna let him handle that. No, it's cooperation. So in this situation, we see the cooperation between Jesus and the disciples. He will not just say, I'll solve this situation, just sit back there. He told them to sit when they found the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fishes. So here, in the first point, we have to try. We have to do something. We have to put in our human efforts with heaven, cooperation with heaven. Whatever little idea we have, if you believe that it's going to do something good, we have to speak it. We have to say it to God. Say, okay, I think if I do this, it may. But then we find Philip saying, oh, 200 pence is not enough. So he found a solution, but it's still not the complete solution. He found a portion of the solution to the problem, which shows us that in this whole story, we can see that God has the supreme, complete solution to things. He has everything, while we have only a portion. But even if it's a portion, even if it's little, it will become much, because He will put in His power into His blessing into it. So the first point is, God allows our faith to be tested to help us exercise our power to think. We have to think, our ability to think, and not just leave it all to Him and become lazy. So the next point is, food can be a test. In this situation, they were tested with the food. We find it in verse 5. What shall we buy? Or whence shall we buy bread that these may eat? Food is a test. We have seen that over the years, over the decade, in the Bible, all over history. From the Garden of Eden to the in the wilderness, we see that everywhere. Food can be a test for so many people. Maybe you'll say, for the rich, they're not tested. Well, they will have another test, not just with the issue of food, but maybe in another area. But with the food, you can say, well, the rich have so many supplies, or oversupplied, or abundant supply, you know. But to a certain group of people who is only having a little, then this is a top 1, I would say top 5 of the list of tests. So we can see that people do certain things just for food, or certain things, many things just for food. The belly knocks, triggers message in the brain, and then affects the mood, affects the whole body, affects everything. Unless, of course, when you're fasting, you're preparing your mind that you will not eat for a certain number of meals or whatever. But in our day-to-day life, food can be a test for so many people. Some people who refuse to work, the Bible says, if you refuse to work, you shall not be allowed to eat. Yeah? When they refuse to work, then what? They're just gonna walk around, beg for money, ask for whatever the situation. They lie, they say something, change the story, fabricate a story in order to get money. So that's what food does. It dictates, it affects the person's demeanor, it affects their character, and it changes them because they're hungry. They take advantage of others. Their follower, they're sustained. We can see that. Yes, we can see that. John 6:26. Jesus answered them and said, Verily, verily, I say unto you, ye seek me not because ye saw the miracles, but because ye did eat of the loaves and were filled. The people were following Him not because they want to see miracles, but because they can be filled, they can eat, take advantage of the situation. These are the fake followers. They just follow because food takes them there. It's very common. They're willing to do something even if it's wrong because they can be sustained there. Oh, let's follow this person because he has money. And then when you follow the person, and then when adversity comes, then, oh no, let's go somewhere else because we are not sustained here. We cannot eat our whatever kind of food that we're looking for, and then etc. etc. it has always been a test in the Garden of Eden, in the wilderness, and today. And when Sunday love comes, we know that when those who have the mark won't be able to buy and sell, and they don't have a garden, it's gonna be a rough day, rough days, and a rough season. So we can see that the food can be a test, and in this they were tested. The faith was tested with the food, just like the Israelites in the wilderness, where we could see that majority of them were not able to make it to the promised land because they were murmuring, food, drink, this, that. We're gonna die here in the wilderness, thinking evil. Food was to them a big test, as it is for us in this last day. Many people can follow God because they think that they're not gonna live their luxurious life, or their comfort, or it's too difficult. Look at the rich man who said, "What shall I do?" And Jesus said, "Well, sell your riches, follow me." Oh no, his temporal supply will be affected. It's the same thing with food. A temporal supply, a temporal bread is affected. Then people do certain things because food takes them in that direction. So in that case, then who is your God? If you allow food to take you to the wrong direction, you're willing to leave your brethren because you want to get some food over there, go there in the world, hang out around people, and just leave the faith because food took you there. We've seen that with so many people, and it's very, very sad with what the result has been, because when you make the belly your God, you're worshiping other gods. So in this story we can see that in this test of food, there was victory. Even with the little faith of Philip, 200 is not enough. Well, the small solution to the problem actually will turn to be an advantage, because with his understanding, then came the next solution, where Andrew found a lad with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. So you can see Philip tried to do something, and then you see Andrew found a lad. So with whatever small solution to the problem, with what little they found, God blessed it. Because we find that in verse 7, Philip answered, 200 penny worth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may take a little. So you can see that with 200 penny worth, they may be able to buy more than 5 loaves of bread, but still not enough. But then you can see that in the story, God only need 5. He didn't need 200 worth of penny, whatever, 200 penny worth of bread. He didn't need that. What small solution to the problem can become big when Jesus is in the picture. Philip thought 200 is not enough. Well, 200 was not enough for him. How about 5? The more it's not enough. Can you see that? 200 penny worth of bread, which would give them more bread than 5. How much more with 5? That's only 5 loaves of bread. But then again, what small solution he thought was blessed, at the end, they were all filled. Because Jesus only needed a few pieces of loaves and fishes. That's all that he needed. He didn't require us to say, when he says, like, okay, he did not require much from us when he knows that we don't have much. When you have little, okay, he's gonna require a little. And when you put him in the picture, what little you have will increase. When you have much, then that's when he requires much. And then He will double it. He will multiply it. And we can see that in the next examples that we will talk about. Maybe not tonight, but in the next Sabbath evening studies. He only needed a few pieces of bread. Why? And you can see here 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. That's 5 plus 2. That is it. There is also a symbolism, completeness, fulfillment, perfection. He only needed that. He didn't need how many bread would produce. I mean, if you have 200 penny, and how many bread would that be? He didn't even need that. Very simple. He only needed the simple things to solve the great crowd, to solve the issue of that great crowd. He does not need much to provide much. Why? He owns everything, and He has a creative power. How little that, whatever you have, how little it is. When He's in the picture, His creative power is going to bless what you have. And let's read Psalms 50, 10, 11, 12. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. He owns everything. He can multiply what little you have, if He's in the picture. But if you have much, and He's not there, and you know that He's supposed to be there in your life, you will not be blessed. No. Doesn't matter how much you have. Oh, I have so much money. Oh, my salary is increasing. I have so much money. I have so much money in the bank. If God is not there, if Jesus is not walking with you, your money is not going to give you peace, happiness, joy, long-suffering, fruits of the Spirit. But even if you have little, and when Jesus is in it, if heaven is in it, it's going to explode. And it's going to bless not just you, but those around you. For Philip, 200 pennyworth is not sufficient. Sometimes we think like this. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm not talented. I can't perform this. I'm not going to be able to do this. I have no experience. You know, what little effort we have, if we put something, okay, let's try. If somebody needs help, okay, let's try. He's going to bless it. Some people never thought that they know how to do certain things until they tried. Yeah, some people would only discover a certain talent at the later part of their life because it was never exercised. Some people found out that they know how to bake, or they know how to sew, or they know how to, certain skills. And well, why didn't I find this before? Because you never tried, or it never crossed your mind. Sometimes we think, it's not sufficient. This is not sufficient. I'm gonna lose this. I'm gonna lose that. I'm gonna, like, negativity. In this story, we can see that negativity is not the solution. God wants us to be positive. And this, it's not enough. It's not sufficient. I'm gonna run out. This is not enough for me. This will lead to murmuring, just like the Israelites in the wilderness. Oh, we're gonna die. Oh, Moses brought us here so we can die. It's all negative. Oh no, Moses is assuming higher authority. Oh no, he's trying to rule over us and make us. They were like paranoia. It creates paranoia in the mind. This story helps us understand that negativity is not going to solve anything. It speaks to you, this speaks to me, this speaks to all the children of God around the world. This negativity needs to go. And we always find in everyday life, there's always a situation that will tempt us to think negative. Oh, this one, that one, no. And then it leads to evil thinking, and then it leads to murmuring and complaining, and it's a bunch of evils chained one to another. So we can see that whatever small solution to the problems, if it's positive, it's good to go. And if Jesus is in it, He's gonna bless it. Look at the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. Andrew found it. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said unto them, There is a lad here which had 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. But what are they among so many? So here we can see that Andrew found this. So Philip thought of a solution, but it can't be enforced. But then you see Andrew did a positive move. He found this lad which had 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. But then again, attached to it, it says, but what are they among so many? So he found a positive idea, but it's still not enough. When you go to Philip, 200 penny, ooh, it's not sufficient. Oh, then Andrew, 5 loaves of bread. The more it's not enough. If 200 pence, like I said, if 200 penny worth of bread won't be enough for the crowd, how much more with 5? So here you see, test of faith. They forgot that the one who's with them is the one who created heaven and the earth. Or maybe at that time they had no understanding like that, or that they have yet to establish that kind of faith to where they won't forget that the one who is with them, was the creator of this world. He said, every cattle is mine, all the world is mine, this earth is mine, the fullness thereof. So this is something that we need to also think. Sometimes in a situation when we are tested and we have little, sometimes we forget that, hey, guess what? You know what? What little you have, if you put the one who created this world, or the one who owns this world and the fullness thereof, he can bless it. He can increase it. Think of what positive it can do. Well, Andrew found 5 loaves of bread, 2 fishes. But, ooh, how can this help with so many? But then again, the positivity there is, he took that and presented it to Jesus. Because when he found it, and then if he was so lacking faith, like 0, we think, okay, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. No, this is not gonna work. Why even bother bringing it to Jesus? No. But he took it and brought it and said, here, there's a lad. He presented. He showed. Here, this little boy here. But 5 and 2. Oh no. But how is it gonna work? So when they did that and said that, then Jesus came into the picture. That's when he said, okay, make the man sit down. So you can see that the idea of Philip and the positive move of Andrew, you can see that they're all human understanding, human efforts, with what they think is going to somehow fix the situation. That's what God wants. He doesn't want us to sit idle and just say, I'm just gonna let it be and you just take care of it. You haven't even tried anything. He wants us to do something too. He wants us to cooperate with Him. So here we can see that the positivity was helping. The negativity is not gonna help. When there's a problem and you have little, the negative thoughts about what little you have is not going to solve it. The positivity is going to solve the situation. With what little you have, you put Jesus in it. You put Him in the picture. You allow Him to enter into the situation. You allow Him to do something with what we have, with what you have, and you can see a miracle. It's going to be amazing. In the next worship, we can see that the little boy, now we're gonna go to the little boy, okay? Now we talk about Andrew, Philip, and all their whatever, their negative thoughts about with what effort they have and stuff. Now next time we're gonna go to the little boy, because this little boy, I tell you, little is much with him. It's it's like you see a David versus Goliath. So tonight, let's think about this, and through the Sabbath day and through the week, let us remember that in this life that we live in this world, there will always be issues, there will always be problems, there will always be trials, because sin is still here, Satan is still here, the demons are still here. And if we only have little for the particular problem, for the particular situation, let us not forget that when we put the master of all, the mightiest of all, the greatest of all, we allow Him to enter our lives, enter our minds, enter our hearts. Doesn't matter what we have. It doesn't matter if it's so little. Allow Him to bless it. Allow Him to multiply it. Allow Him to do something with it. May we have a great Sabbath evening and a wonderful Sabbath day tomorrow. And may all our prayers be answered perfectly according to the will of God. And God bless us all. See you next time. Bye-bye.